What I tell people all the time that enter this space, and I swear by what I'm about to tell you, we live very privileged lives when it comes to the money, when it comes to the access, and when it comes to the freedom. And everything in this life has a cost. You're going to pay on the front end or the back end, okay, but you going to pay.
Now, y'all know it wouldn't be a real day on the internet if Funky Dineva didn't come through with the tea, piping hot and straight, no chaser. And this time, he ain't holding nothing back. Not when it comes to Dr. G and Sweet Tea getting the boot from Married to Medicine. According to him, this wasn't just about low ratings or not bringing drama. This was personal. And Sweet Tea wasn't just a cast member. She was a pawn in a bigger game. See, Dineva believes Sweet Tea was used. Her relationship with Dr. G was pulled onto the show with one goal in mind, to go toe-to-toe with Quad. Not to build her own story, not to let the audience get to know her, but to stir the pot and take the spotlight off of someone else. And the crazy part? She never even asked for it. One minute, she's living a regular life, sliding into Dr. G's DMs, getting married, thinking she's stepping into her happily ever after. Next thing you know, she's on national TV, thrown into a firestorm she didn't start. Dineva said she was collateral damage, and once that storyline didn't explode like producers thought it would, they had no use for her. So what happened behind the scenes that led to this sudden exit? Well, it's messier than you thought.
They wouldn't have nothing to talk about if you aren't there. You said that, I didn't say it.
When Sweet Tea went live on Mother's Day, it wasn't just about sending love to the mamas. It was the first real sign that she was mentally checking out of Married to Medicine. She talked about how things had to make sense for her, that she needed to feel right about continuing on. It wasn't about the fame, the platform, or chasing more camera time. For her, it was about peace, about authenticity. And according to her, that show wasn't giving any of that. She said she shared her story to hopefully inspire others, that her journey had value, but she also made it clear she wasn't going to sell her soul just to stay on a reality show. And let's be honest, that was already a soft goodbye. Then, in another clip from her live, she put the nail in the coffin, no more Married to Medicine for her. Just 2 seasons in, and she was done. She even said it directly. The drama wasn't worth it. Now, while Sweet Tea was out here keeping it graceful, Funky Dineva was on his live already telling y'all what time it was. Before any official word dropped, Funky told his audience that Sweet Tea and Dr. G were not coming back. He said it straight up. Filming was about to start and they weren't part of it. And when Funky speaks in these reality circles, people listen. He's not pulling this stuff out the sky. He's got insider connections. He's been around these networks and cast members long enough to know when something is happening. He even joked about having to snatch his little toupee off to get into it. But make no mistake, the man came with facts. And the way he said it, like it was already understood in the streets before the network even made it public. He didn't just say they were gone, he revealed why they were gone. And it had nothing to do with boring storylines or lack of viewer interest. But here's where it gets messy. Funky didn't just spill the tea, he poured the whole kettle.
I said, I gotta say something about her, because if not, the fans are gonna attack me.
According to Funky, this whole thing wasn't just random. Sweet Tea didn't just walk into reality TV, she was pulled into it to play a role in somebody else's feud. Funky broke it all the way down. The real reason Sweet Tea and Dr. G were brought back to Married to Medicine to shake things up with Quad. It wasn't about showing off a new marriage or letting the fans get to know them. It was about using their relationship to get under Quad's skin. Think about it. Dr. Goo is Quad's ex. The producers knew there was history. They knew putting his new wife front and center was going to create tension. They thought Sweet Tea would bring that smoking gun energy. Come in bold, come in swinging, and make good TV. But here's the twist. Sweet Tea didn't know that was the plan. She thought she was coming in as herself, not some hired villain. And once she didn't deliver the drama they hoped for, they had no more use for her. Funky said it clearly. She was collateral damage. She got thrown into the spotlight, pressured to perform, and then pushed out when the story didn't hit like they expected. She was living her own Cinderella story, DMs to diamonds, from everyday life to a TV spotlight. And then, just like that, it crumbled. All because she didn't play the role they cast her for.
You know what? It didn't really quite shock me because I know people's intentions and I see how they move, and
I'm not surprised.
Let's get into Dr. G for a minute. Cause Sweet Tea wasn't moving through all this mess alone. Whether you love him, can't stand him, or just never really felt like you understood him, one thing's clear: he played some kind of role in how this all unfolded. The question is, how much did he know? Now, according to Funky Dineva, Dr. G was all too aware of what his return to Married to Medicine meant. He wasn't just popping back up for no reason. This wasn't about sharing his growth or letting folks see his new life. It was about relevance. After being gone from the show for years, getting back on screen with a brand new wife, no less, was the perfect way to reclaim some spotlight. Think about it. Why would he go back on the same platform that aired out all the mess with Quad? He had to know the producers weren't bringing him back out of goodwill. They brought him back to stir the pot. And even if he didn't create the plan, he didn't stop it either. He let Sweet Tea walk into a situation where she was clearly being used, and from the outside, it doesn't look like he ever stepped in to protect her. Instead, he played along, showed up for filming, sat at those reunion tapings like everything was normal, all while Sweet Tea was slowly realizing she was a pawn in someone else's game. And let's not forget, when things started to shift, when the energy got weird and people started turning on her, Dr. G wasn't exactly jumping to defend her. Now we gotta talk about Dr. G, because where there's smoke, there's usually a man dodging accountability in a bow tie. Here's the cold truth Funky Dineva laid out. It all came down to performance. And we're not talking about medical skills or marriages, we're talking about TV value. Producers brought Sweet Tea and Dr. G back to deliver the kind of high-stakes, high-volume drama that keeps viewers glued. But instead of explosions, they got awkward silence and passive tension. Funky said they didn't bring enough heat. Sweet Tea was supposed to be this spicy personality who could challenge Quad and give viewers a new villain or fan favorite to rally around. But what they got was someone trying to survive the setups instead of playing into them. She didn't pop off. She didn't take the bait, and when the reunion came around, she didn't give the kind of viral moments the network hoped for. Meanwhile, Dr. G was playing in the background like he was just happy to be in the room. No tension, no real impact, just there. And in the reality TV world, if you don't deliver, you're done. You're either bringing the chaos or helping someone else bring it, but Sweet Tea didn't do either. Not because she couldn't, but because she didn't want to play that game. And that made her expendable.
You dumb. You're dumb. And you put on a white coat.
Ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong.
For all them little Botox in your face, girls, leave me alone. Please, you not instead of teaching the young women, you instead of teaching, you competing. You compete and you can never.
Listen.
You can never.
Listen, go worry about that man you got, because I heard he called it smart.
But here's where things take a turn, and honestly, for the better. After stepping away from Bravo, Sweet Tea didn't just go silent. She took her story, her experience, and all the lessons she learned and flipped it into something new. Now she's on YouTube doing content on her own terms. She's no longer playing a character or trying to survive scenes. She's just being her. And it's not just solo videos either. She's part of a whole new crew now, the Doctor Wives of Atlanta. A more supportive environment where women like her can shine without being set up for conflict. You can tell she feels safer there, more in control, and viewers can feel that too. Instead of fighting for screen time or clapping back in every scene, she's telling her story her way, laughing more, looking good, and finally able to breathe. No producers are trying to box her in, no hidden agendas, just content that reflects her real life. And you know what? Maybe getting fired was the best thing that could have happened to her, because she looks happy, unbothered, and camera ready. At the end of the day, if we circle back to everything Funky Dineva laid out, the whole situation feels less like a natural fallout and more like a setup. From the moment Sweet Tea stepped on that stage, it seems like her role was already written. Not for her success, but for someone else's storyline. She wasn't brought in as a new lead, she was brought in as a trigger, a tool to shake the table, mainly around Quad. But when that plan didn't land, Sweet Tea went from being central to the show to completely disposable. Funky broke it down. She was never meant to have longevity. She was meant to cause a reaction, and once that reaction didn't deliver enough ratings or headlines, they cut her loose like she never mattered in the first place. She wasn't protected, she wasn't guided, and it doesn't look like anyone, not production, not Dr. G, stepped in to make sure she came out of this okay. It was all about the show. And once the camera stopped rolling, so did the support. A person tweeted saying, "Sweet Tea deserves better. Reality TV chewed her up and spat her out, but she's glowing now." Another one added, "Funky Dineva telling no lies as usual. Bravo didn't want real, they wanted chaos." So now that the truth is out, do y'all think Sweet Tea was a victim of Bravo's storyline chess match? Or was it just bad TV gone worse? Sound off in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share because this drama ain't done yet.